Hey guys, Ronan here. I decided to share my experience and thoughts on Destiny. I was told by many to get this game because it was amazing, and being a PC gamer, I had my doubts. I still decided to try it out. Destiny was a great gameplay, even if I'm going through this list, there are a lot of flaws in my opinion, but I believe these flaws could easily be overlooked or improved either by a patch or if Bungie releases another game of this genre. I've been playing Destiny for about 3 weeks, which is not as much as a lot of other players. I understand that. Some of my friends call this an MMO FPS RPG. I would agree to call it a FPS with RPG elements. MMOs tend to be more social, have actually a lot more content than just a few missions. And Destiny just does not have the ability to communicate easily with other players, or players are just not in the social type that want to communicate with you. They just want to get in, do their dungeon, and then leave. As far as the difficulty goes, I managed to play the game on hard at every level throughout the story mode. Some of the fights were really tough by myself, but it was still doable. So the difficulty was nice to be able to adjust to whether you want to play it normal or have an extra difficulty. I think that was a nice touch. Not a lot of games offer an ability that's just this smooth to be able to change the difficulty. 1 or 2 level difference with the monsters made a big difference, and so does your gear, but I found that overall this was well done. So when I sat down for the first time, and I must admit the graphics were pretty amazing. Seeing as I am a computer gamer, and the last time I played on console was PlayStation 2, I was actually amazed by how good the graphics looked on the PS4. And then the story started, and I just smiled once I heard Ghost and his voice. And being voiced by Peter Dinklage, some of you will know him as Tyrion, I thought that was pretty cool. I didn't know that they had used Peter Dinklage's voice for Ghost, but I thought that was pretty amazing. It's almost like I was going on an adventure and Peter Dinklage was just going to talk to me throughout the story. I was although surprised that Cortana's voice was replaced by a male voice, but that was definitely a much better pick, and the decision was just a better fit for a companion. The voice acting in Destiny is actually really good. There are quite a few voices that I recognize from movies, TV shows, or other games. Even if the story is really, really lackluster, I don't even remember the story. All I remember is getting into the game, getting told by Ghost to get inside quickly because you're being chased. I don't like being told what to do, so I waited a bit, looked outside, and proceeded in because there was no consequences to actually waiting. At least if I didn't wait long enough, maybe. The gameplay reminded me of when I used to play Halo Combat Evolved. It's smooth, just the right pace for combat, all-around good shooter with no loading once you're on the ground, through its seamless zones, great atmosphere, really dark areas, but no flashlight option. I feel like with a high-tech, space-age shooter, where's the flashlight? I was appreciative of Ghost when he decides to turn it on when he feels that it's too hard to see. I guess having the flashlight on your suit, on your helmet, it was just too hard to implement. The enemies are interesting. Each have their little quirks on how to deal with them, but easy to figure out. Except for the Shriekers, I keep dying to those every time I kill them. I still have a hard understanding on how to dodge their tracking through walls and behind rocks missiles. Every time I kill one, I end up dying probably at least 80% of the time. I did enjoy fighting massive waves of enemies as I was barely surviving through my first playthrough. So I also tried the PvP. Even at low levels, I was actually surprised that it was balanced, which was nice. I quickly realized that crouching did not keep you off the radar. Nice touch, Bungie. I found it well-rounded from maps to game types, and the group sizes fit very well to the map sizes. This is although about it for my positive experience of Destiny. Although it was a very positive experience, the following list is basically where the flaws I believe were, and where Bungie could improve their game, or at least improve a future version of a game like this. The story. I think it's been widely known the story/plot is very bad. Having now played The Last of Us, I think these are polar opposites. The two games just don't even compare for story and plot. And again, what was the game about? I don't even remember Destiny storyline. All I remember is that Peter reads me, tells me to hurry up, and then I ran in. That's about as far as the storyline goes for me. So basically, I got up, ran in, killed some things, and killed more things, and then that other thing, and that's it, right? That's the story. Leveling felt underwhelming. I've only really played the Warlock. The skills you get from leveling, I found that they leave very little customization. I mean, you get a grenade, you get to choose between 3 grenades. Okay, not really a big deal. One of them for me stuck to the wall, the other one made smaller grenades, and the last one I think split into 3 grenades. I didn't really find it that great. Mind you, at level 15 they give you a different sphere with different skills, but at that point I didn't really feel like starting back at level 0 or level 1 with no skills. So I was just like, okay, let's keep playing. Playing while multiplayer, I have mixed feelings about this, since most of the game I played solo. It just made the game a little bit longer and harder, I found, but having only started to play when House of Wolves released, I found that no one was playing between level 1 to 26 pretty much, so I never got the chance to co-op that much. And when I did, people left quickly because I was always playing on hard, so my level was actually much lower than them by 2 levels. Or I get put into a group mission by myself, only to get to the last boss and not be able to complete the level, since it was meant to be for co-op, and enemy shields would basically regenerate before I could reload my weapon. I think that if the level is to be done as a party, Bungie should have added a queuing system, or at least a matchmaking system, that would prompt you and say that you're about to go into this level by yourself. Do you want to continue, or keep waiting for more players? I think this is a giant oversight, because some of the levels are just not... I mean, you could probably do it if you took a really long time, but it's just not worth time and effort to them. And then basically if you die, you can't get your buddy to come get you. You're done. Like, and even some of the waves of spawning ads, I would not even have time to kill all the ads, and then there'd be the second wave, and I never even touched the boss. So I thought that was kind of an oversight if you're playing by yourself. And with the matchmaking being the oversight, I also had a friend that decided to join me and help me. I didn't even know he had joined me originally. He just joined my fire team somehow. He was level 32, I was level 6 at the time. It basically killed the game for me. I almost put the controller down and say, I'm not playing this game, this is too boring. So basically I would just run through behind him and he would kill everything before I even tried to kill one thing, which was just really annoying. And after he left, I was level 8 and I decided to start a different character, and that character is still level 8. I think they could change this by syncing with your friends, so if he's level 32, he could sync to your level, and then you could still do co-op and both be enjoying the game. It's either that or more solo play. The gear and gun choices. Well, what choices really? Okay, to be fair, I really like Borderlands. This game is not Borderlands. The games here are pretty standard. They don't differ much from one another until endgame. And even then, I've only heard of exotics being different, and I have not gotten one yet. From gun to gun, the selection is very limited. You get generally almost the same submachine gun or auto rifle, I've noticed. The same pulse rifles all the time. It's just really lackluster. If you get a purple weapon, then it's going to be better than the other weapons, hands down, by quite a bit, and that's basically what you're going to use, or at least your favorite type of weapon. But between weapon to weapon, there's not much of a choice as long as they're the same level. As far as the armor, sure, you can select like the armor you want with the stats, but really the only stat you're going to want after 20 is light. There's just no other thing to look for. The highest light brings up your experience level, and that's it. Like, you just keep getting armor with more light, and I found that kind of a flaw, because then there's so much other armor or items you get that just don't matter. You just don't use them, don't wear them. You can't even just wear them for glamour. You just just throw them away just to get the materials out of it.
Might as well skip a step and just give the material drops instead of the armor that you have to dismantle.
And then there's the bosses. I found very bland, since most of them felt like they were just reskins or larger versions of a normal enemy. Nothing fancy there. Only two that kind of stood out to me, and one was the Cobalt tank, where one of the generals is inside a tank, and the other one was the I think the Hell Spider, the robotic spider at the beginning of the game. I think you buy it twice throughout the game, and those are the only two that kind of stood out, having a mechanic kind of. And I found that the real difficulty during the bosses the first few times were the ads. Some of them felt like if you weren't killing the ads fast enough or killing the boss fast enough, you were just getting overwhelmed with the ads. And not knowing that the ads spawned at the same location every time, my first time around, I found that I was getting overwhelmed in a lot of boss fights because I'd be at the spawn location or trying to kill the boss from an angle that I thought was good, and all of a sudden just got attacked by a giant ship and just used this cannon on me. And since I was playing by myself, then I would just have to restart the entire fight, which happened a few times. The game is repetitive to death. Same levels over and over, even if you're on a different mission, they just reuse the same area. You have to rerun through the same area, through the same levels. You're gonna end up killing low level ads, so you're gonna run around to get to your area, and you have to kill like level 8s while you're level 30, which is, I mean, there's no challenge there, you're just gonna run through. And I've also noticed that while I did some co-op play, that people just got on their bikes and zoomed right past all of the ads anyway, and they would just zoom right by and just keep going until they got to the area they wanted to get to, which I think is kind of a flaw because the game always puts you in the same start points, even though your mission is not like for another like 5 minutes of bike ride away sometimes. And I guess the reason behind it, maybe they want people to enjoy the atmosphere, the areas, but this is like the old MMO days where you used to have to travel to your dungeon every time you wanted to run it. But I mean, they got around that by putting together Party Finder, which basically teleports you to your dungeon and helps you find party members to run those dungeons, which cuts down on a ton of time trying to find players to run these. So it's almost like Destiny de-evolved with this. And if the argument was that people could enjoy the open world, then why did they give us hover bikes? Like, that's just for us to zoom past and hurry up through the content we actually don't want to enjoy. I mean, I don't play these games for, you know, zooming on a bike. I play it to go and shoot things. That's what an FPS is for. So being repetitive makes this game like less replayable to me. I don't necessarily want to go and level a different character because I just don't want to sit through the same levels like every time, and it's just a grind of the same exact levels. And it's just boring, like the same scenery every time. I don't know, I think they could have done better missions with better areas, or at least, you know, cut out having to run through the same area over and over again.
Maybe having some random spawns or some randomly generated maps. Like, I'm not sure how much work it would be, but like Diablo, you know, has randomly generated maps as you play.
Now, the last 2 points I wrote down might just be because I'm a PC gamer, but the loading. Why do I need to load from the tower to space to then pick a planet just so I can, you know, go to my mission? Why can't I pick my mission from tower, from the hub? Like, why do I have to leave there to go pick my destination? That's a big one. Why can't we go from one mission straight to another mission without having to wait for the loading screen to get to the space screen so that I can pick another mission and just load again? Like, I think they could have streamlined that a little better. I think they could actually just send you to tower directly after the mission, and then from tower directly go to your mission. I think that would be a great improvement.
Because I know that load times are unavoidable in video games, but on a console they're actually longer than on the PC, so by having to do it twice, it felt really long to me.
I think that by streamlining your game, the gameplay becomes more enjoyable for your customers, and all in all, it just gives them a better experience. If having a population cap was the issue, maybe having instanced hubs where you'd have 30, 50, whatever your server could handle people there at the same time, and then once that server was full, essentially your instance was full, then just start making a different instance, the exact same city. It's just that your friend, you may not be able to see him unless you select the same instance. I think Age of Conan had a good way to do this. And lastly, aiming. I hadn't used a controller for an FPS.
I think the last time was Time Splitters.
I've only started playing on PlayStation now, and Destiny with the aim assist off, I found that it adjusted way too much, which I forgot from playing with a mouse, where on the computer it don't adjust you. And a lot of the times that I should have missed the target outright, I still got the headshot, and I found that it made the game a lot easier when it should have been. But this could be console wide, I don't know. I just found that the game was really easy to aim for the head.
Sometimes the tracking got so bad that I would actually notice my cursor tracking through crates and trees.
All in all, Destiny is a good game to play if you don't mind the lack of story. The story really is what kills it for me. Graphics are nice, but I never play a game solely based on the graphics. It's always gameplay and how immersed you are in the game. The avatar doesn't actually draw me in. It doesn't make me feel like I'm playing a character I want to play. It's just lack of customization. But all in all, it is fun to play. Maybe even if I had a bigger friends list for Destiny, that might affect how enjoyable my experience was.
It's like the disclaimer always say, online experiences may vary.
Because now that I'm level 29, I think, I still don't really have anybody to play with, and I only barely see people online. Personally, I'm looking forward to Tom Clancy's Division, which hopefully fixes a lot of Destiny's flaws and streamlines the game a lot better. I'm going to link a video in the description, so have a look. We're able to support cross-platform gameplay. As always, thank you for watching. Keep on the lookout for more thoughts on video games, since this was my first of many reviews / thoughts of the video game.
And I'm planning on putting a lot more hours into more reviews so that it helps you guys make your decision on video games a little easier, hopefully, instead of paying top dollar for games that you may not enjoy.